everyone. Today we're gonna see a very important and very complex concept called OOP. So what's an OOP? OOP is actually related to the classes in C++, and classes, as the name it says itself, object-oriented programming is a programming where we tend to use a lot of objects. So what are the objects? Objects are instances of some classes, where an object encapsulates a lot of different features, a lot of different functionalities, and it is like a one type. For example, a string. Let's give an analogy with a string. So string as is a collection of characters, but at the same time it has very different features. For example, append, or like a very simple one, a length, where so it has a feature, like very different features. And as well, so we can have a type such as a string, but we can create it by ourselves by using classes. So let's have a very simple example and use a class called car. So what does a car class means is that we have an abstract instructions for the how the car should be, what the car needs to have. For example, here we are saying that car needs to have a year, a model, and horsepower, and those are represented. For example, year is represented in integer and the model in string, and so on. And here we are initializing our objects, and for the first object we are initializing and making its year as 1997 and model as BMW. And here year is 2000 and model is Mercedes. So what's the point? Why would use it? So as you might guess, it makes our programming much easier. It's just saves a lot of information about year, about model in one place, in one type. So you might think, you can think that a class helps us to make our own type, where we can do anything. So we can even have a function called length, which will return, for example, the length of the model, and model name length, we can call a model name length. And if we, for example, output here a faster class model name length, it will give a length of the model 8. Mercedes is 8. So that's a very fundamental concept of the classes. And for one more thing is that we can even have as a feature another object from another class. Let's say, for example, we have a class called color, and which has RGB as its features, and we can add an object called color to this car. And when we initialize a color here, we will just make color R equal to 1, color G equal to 1, and color B is equal to, let's say, 0. And we can initialize color in this way, and we need to make it public so that we can access it. So don't worry if you don't know some of the concepts such as public or private things. We're gonna cover it in next tutorials in more deep and detailed way. So yeah, that's basically it about the fundamental concept of the classes. One more thing that can be very useful is constructors. So as you can see, we are initializing each parameter of the object by one by one in one line. But instead of doing that, we can actually initialize them inside the constructor. So to define a constructor, we'll just write a class's name as a function inside the class, and for each given year, given model, and given horsepower, and lastly given color, we will make the classes parameters equal to the given parameters. So horsepower is given horsepower, color is given color. So yeah, I hope you got the idea. So instead of writing all this stuff, we will just, and the same with a class color. So we can have R, G, B, and it will be given and given and R equal to given R, G equal to given G, and B would be equal to given B. Yep, that's basically it. Karma is explicitly initialized. Yeah, I think it's talking about this. Let's try to first run. Let's try to first initialize the color as 1, 1, 0, and as you can see, we're giving the parameter to the function, constructor function, our values for colors, and for the parameters to the car function, car constructor, we'll give B 1998 BMW, for the horsepower, let's say 100, and for the color have a color. Yeah, and we don't really need to do this. And the same for this actually. So it will be 2000 and Mercedes 200 and color. Let's say they both have the same color. Let's try to run it. Yeah, our code is yeah, we're gonna talk about those things a bit later, but for now, yeah, just to try succeed in compilation. Yeah, Mercedes, yeah, so it was showing a 9, but there was a typo in the model's name. Yeah, that's basically it. So now Hooray, it shows 8. So that's basically it. And one more thing, one very tiny minor thing is that we can now delete this thing for okay, let's talk about it later about public and private. I hope the whole thing was all clear, and we're gonna talk more later.